Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. Hope you're having a great day. Let's take a look here at Bitcoin and see what's going on. We're zooming out a little bit to take a look at the macro here, kind of seeing where our next point of control is in case Bitcoin decides it wants to drop its bottom. That would be roughly 63,000. We talked about in the past being a potential reality for us. So I'm not throwing that out or putting that on the table. It's always been there. Just want to kind of bring that to your attention and reiterate that. We have a strong amount of support here at 67.2 to 67.7. So the rough estimate of where we're at right now, or where we've been the last 12 hours, is basically that strong amount of support for the moment. Okay, that can obviously change in a pretty quick, short amount of time, but just heads up, that's kind of what's going on there. Bitcoin did push all the way down to 66,800. My guess is probably just a trap for late shorts, because that generally is the case here when liquidation short delta gets too high. We'll look at that here in a moment, but if you are new to the channel, just want to say thanks again for watching, and I hope you learned something today. Comment below if you get a chance. If you're new, if you've been around for a while, love to hear how long. We've got some folks who have been watching me for 3.5 years. It's pretty excellent. I started my channel in April of 21, so cool stuff. Been a great experience. I've been trading for over 20 years, and I can tell you that days like today don't surprise me anymore. All right, it's just kind of the way that goes. But what we're going to look at here really quick is just some back-end liquidation data, kind of see where we're at here with people leveraging either too much or too little, right? Because when people have too much leverage, that's usually why the price moves the way that it did, because the market makers are like, oh, cool, we got a bunch of chumps over here at 67,000. We're just going to sweep those and bring the price right back to where we want it to. And again, they make money because they sell all the way down. Once everybody gives up and they start flipping to shorts, then they buy, and reverse the whole thing. So it's a big mess, but it makes more sense if you understand it. Granted, just looking at liquidation doesn't tell you all that, but it gives you an identification of what could happen next. And hypothetically, the price continues lower. We see 65,000 as a next heavy concentration of liquidation. I'm not proposing that's going to happen, but a lot of, I would say those are low to middle, basically low to mid leverage longs. They're essentially in that range, and it's a safer place. I get it, especially with election coming up tomorrow. A lot of folks are presuming that we're going to see a bullish type of scenario. I'm not really sure at this point. I think it's probably best to steer clear of the market and stay out of the way. If you want to maybe just hedge with one or two very low leverage trades, I wouldn't fault you for that. That would make sense. I was halfway considering a Bitcoin long, but I'm super glad we held off, because we want to see how much lower it could go, if at all, right? So anyways, that's the whole point there. Just kind of looking at this here, we can see 65 to 64,000 from a macro perspective. This last 30 days on the right, we can see a lot of longs essentially from the previous time in which the price is at 65,000. Imagine taking a long from 65,000 from Bitcoin going all the way up to 73,000 and being almost already to your entry without, and if you include the fees too for that leverage long, you're probably actually in the red. Isn't that crazy how people still hold on like this? It is insane to me. Anyways, that's the case there for liquidation. If we look at liquidation delta, I talked about this previously. I keep highlighting the fact that it's too high and we stay that level for too long, bad things are going to happen. Okay, so liquidation delta is too high at this point. We got about 8 billion in liquidation delta, basically telling us that there's $8 billion more in shorts than there are in longs as far as liquidation is concerned, and that's a problem. That's a bad thing. Okay, that is essentially one exchange. Obviously, Binance the largest. It could be a different story across the grid, but generally speaking, that's the concept there. So what I want you to what I want to impart to you with this here is that what goes down must come up, and vice versa, right? We've been pushing down for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days now. I guess if you consider that the top, essentially. But the truth is, at this point here, it's not a great situation to consider a long, but it's also, you also got to recognize the price is likely to bottom out soon, and at the very least, we should go sideways. That would be a strong consideration. But anyways, instead of hypothesizing, let's just go ahead and summarize what's going on here. We lost a 20-day SMA. It's safe to presume we're not going to close over 68.8 today. We've got an hour left in today's trading, and it's not looking pretty, right? We saw a nice little relief rally there from 66.8, but that shouldn't have happened in the first place. There wasn't really like a large concentration of liquidation. I feel like that was just a trap for late shorts. That's just me personally. Again, I watch the market pretty much 6 out of 7 days a week. Even on Sundays, I'm still looking at it, but I'm not trading essentially. The whole point of me mentioning this is that this just feels too good to be true. It's like a layup as far as like, should I short right now? Well, generally speaking, everything's pointing down, so that's all the more reason not to do it. I know it sounds crazy. I'm not telling you to take a long, but the way the market makers are moving right now, they're really setting us up for a last-ditch effort just before the election tomorrow. I think we're going to see some really weird stuff coming up. So all the more reason just kind of stay on the sidelines, right? You don't want to trade into this kind of event. It's a very large fundamental catalyst. But again, if you see one presidential candidate pulling ahead, maybe might be worth taking long, and the inverse for a short. My speculation is we'll see the price go up if Trump is re-elected, and of course, if Kamala is if she is elected rather, we'd probably see the price of Bitcoin go down, at least initially. And again, that's just based on who's pro and who's con towards that of cryptocurrency. I don't think it's going to matter really too much in the big picture, but it'll probably have a short-term impact. Okay, so 50 on the RSI, still holding, technically still on the right side of the tracks here. I don't love that we lost a 20-day SMA. I don't generally like to take a long into it, but if we can close above 68.8, or just say, let's just say round number 68.5, that's like right in the middle, that's a golden pocket. If we can close in that range, we'd be in pretty good shape. Now I can pull up some macro fib levels for us and send that on our playout chart. In fact, I'll probably do that just so you can get perspective on what's really going on in the big picture here. But from a zoomed in perspective from local fib levels, we're below a lot of resistance, and it's not really a great sign to want to consider a long. MACD is diverging, money flow index is low, we're seeing money flow away from this coin. These are all just unfavorable circumstances. Having said all that, the 4-hour time frame is also reiterating and reaffirming this. We got a potential support at 66,200. I'm not even going to get into detail on the SMAs not being support levels. It's easy to summarize and just say we got support in this range. The truth is that means nothing, really. The SMAs are helpful for trendsetters, kind of letting us know in the last 200 days of trading, Bitcoin's done well. We shift below that, we might see some bearish divergence. That's the concept. So here in the overall sentiment, we're below the key levels of the 20 and the 50-day SMA. Those are more trendsetters for me, and those are the ones I like to pay attention to. So until we break this descending trend line, I think it's safe to say it's probably not worthwhile taking along. Unless you're the kind of person that likes to, have you ever put like a dollar bill in the toilet and flushed it and seen it go down? That if you're that kind of person, maybe you should take it long. Again, I'm possibly even considering a long at this point just based on the way that things are working. However, you got to recognize it's not necessarily the best consideration. If I were to do that myself, it'd be a very low leverage, low position size, and I wouldn't feel like super confident because there's nothing here we've seen here so far, minus the manipulation on the back end that seems kind of just outrageous to me. As to why we should take a long, right? It just doesn't make a ton of sense. Anyways, we are getting closer to that sweet spot of 30 RSI, money flow index at 20. We could see a bounce from here, but the general consensus here is that most things on the 4-hour time frame are also bearish. But you got to recognize market makers, they do a really good job of convincing you to go short, to start shorting. And once you do, it's too late. And once again, this leads me to believe that we are likely to see a bit of a rally back up to 68.5, possibly even 69K, and at that point we'll have to reevaluate, see if it's going to hold or not. A logical place, and somebody has asked me if we should short 69K. The short answer is yes, that's like right here. So hypothetically, the price rallies up here, you'd be coming up to a resistance range, and of course a descending trend line. It's kind of a no-brainer almost to want to consider shorting into that. But do we do that in the blind between now and then? It's probably not a good idea, right? The best traders are going to be the ones kind of sitting on the sidelines at this point, okay? And those who are a little bit more, I guess just they prefer to risk a little more, then you could maybe consider a trade. But I am not proposing you take a long position into all this garbage because there's nothing here that looks good and worthwhile for a long position. Small time frames, maybe identify that, the 15, 5, the 1 minute time frame. You probably see some hidden bearish divergence or some crap, but the truth is there's nothing that we see right now that's ideal. So let me tell you what would be ideal if we were to see that and what would warrant a long position. First of all, lagging spans free and clear of the downside, implying a short would makes more sense. The the conversion line and the baseline are essentially in a position letting us know we got good momentum to the downside. We've also got the cloud right here averaging itself out at the golden pocket. So everything is pointing down right now, okay? So logically, a short at 68.5 would make sense, okay? Contrary to that, as far as a long position is concerned, what I would be looking for is the price action breaking above, preferably the descending trend line, and consolidating about the 68.8 or 69K range. This would be a good consideration for a long. What that would do for us is that would put the lagging span above the price action, and we'd be free and clear there. That'd give us a lot of confirming factors on the hourly time frame. I'm not talking about the 4-hour or the daily at this point, just strictly from a lower time frame perspective. That would be a confirming factor for us. That's not even an exact science that happens, right? But the truth is you'd have more confidence and more potential for upside if you were to consider a long at that point. Right? So again, that's exactly why you be patient, set an alert, see what happens. Maybe set an alert at the 69K range just to see if that is ever visited. I'll put one at about the 68, let's go 68.5. Okay, that'll give us potential to see what's going on at that point if that triggers, okay? So that's kind of where we're at there. Again, the local point of control is at 68.5. We break through that. There's a solid chance we may see a continuation of the upside, invalidating a potential for short. But right now, this just seems too cheeky to, insert a word here that describes something that is, kind of pulling a fast one on you. That's kind of what I feel is happening right now. Again, I could be way off. I hope I'm wrong, and the price just shoots up or shoots down, whatever way works best for you. But at this point, this just seems like too good to be true. Almost every single time you commit to a short in a scenario like this, the price action turns around and it goes crazy, okay? Just throwing it out there. All right, thanks again so much for watching. Hope you all have a good rest of your day. We're gonna tune in tomorrow for the wonderful election, see how that treats us, and we'll go from there. In the meantime, don't feel afraid to reach out. Feel free to jump on over to our Discord to chat with us. And also congrats to our community members for some nice profits on Solana, ICP, and Near Protocol. Those were some shorts here from over the weekend. I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye-bye.